It's time to breathe again on this latest Breath of Fresh Air Shorty. I am your host, Charles, for this episode, and we have an interesting topic today. Now, I know I normally say the topics we talk about pretty much on every show are interesting, but I think this is especially the case for this one because this is going to jump into one of those uncomfortable topics for some people. And you know us, we don't run away from the uncomfortable conversations. We run right to them because we love them. As rough and as rugged as those conversations can be, we think they are necessary to have so we can make some progression, make some progress, and get an understanding for what others think about the same topics. So, with that being said, this one involves the Ohio State University and independent investigation into a Cleveland based massage therapist who, according to the investigation, was being accused by Ohio State of using her occupation as a massage therapist to try to get close to the university's football players and basically offering more services uh, other than massages. Sexual favors, I guess, was what was coming with the massage therapy, I guess she was offering originally. Now, the massage therapist, whose name is Robin Bassani, has denied most of these allegations. And she said, basically, I guess in an interview that was conducted with the local stations or a couple of the local stations up there in Ohio, that look, she really wouldn't have to entice the players to have sex with her because they are young college students, and young college students are just kind of looking for a piece anyway. She didn't say it necessarily like that. Just kind of paraphrasing what was in the statements. Um, Now, here's the thing. Number one, like I said just a little bit earlier, we're not going to run away from the tough topics on here. A lot of people feel like the topic of sex is taboo. It's something they would rather keep private and not be out in the open with their discussions about it. For us, like I said, we don't really care. We're not gonna necessarily force the conversation out of you, but if it does come up, like in a case with this or in a case like this, then hey, I think it should be discussed just how people feel about the situation. Number two, this is also one of those cases where both things can be true. It can definitely be, excuse me, sorry, had a little burp there, so I apologize. But I don't think it would be out of the ballpark if a older woman or an older man used their occupation to try to get close to younger women or younger men. I don't think that's out of the ballpark. I also don't think it's out of the ballpark to think young 18 to 22, 23, 24 year olds are trying to get as much sex as they can. So if you do have an older woman in this case, perhaps using her occupation to try to get close to the players, and everything looks compatible for this to be a sexual encounter, then it's going to happen. And the 18 to 22, 23 year old, they're not going to say no to that. So both of those things can be true. The only thing you hope when it comes to all this is if you are the older adult here, because look, when you're 18, you are considered an adult. So, in that regard, there's nothing wrong there. It's not like these older women, or at least in some of these cases, I know we have other cases involving teachers or coaches or whatever the case may be, where they are messing with underage the girls girls or boys to get their sex fixed or whatever. Which that part is disgusting. I mean, it's at least make sure they're of age. But if they are of age, you wonder for these people, and apparently it was because they went through with the idea of having sex with these people. But you wonder just how much is it worth to them. That's what the older people in these situations have to ask themselves. Is it worth losing your massage therapy license? Is it worth losing your career as a teacher or as a coach? Something you have worked so hard to build just to get a little bit of a temptation, or excuse me, just to get a little bit of pleasure for the present time? And the answer, far too many times, is yes. It is worth it because they're not worried about the long term stuff. They're not worried about the effects it could have on their careers. The only thing they're worried about is that short term pleasure, that present pleasure, and just getting their sex fix. Look, people are horny. People are walking around here ready to have sex with whatever, and they just want to feel, I guess, appreciated or loved, I guess, maybe for that moment. Those are the urges that happens with a lot of people when it comes to dealing with situations like this. That's what you hope those adults, the older adults, have in their head when it comes to these encounters. You don't expect 18 to 24-year old to really understand that. Now, some are mature in the regard of, hey, look, maybe we're just kind of trying to just do our thing. We're not trying to get into too many of these encounters. But most 18 to 24-year-olds, and look, I was in my young 20s once upon a time. I know how I was. I was trying to run around and chase everything. I was going to clubs trying to chase everything within reason, of course. But and hey, women were trying to chase me too. Right? It happens. It's part of life. It's part of growing up and just understanding what exactly things are worth. Are you trying to kind of risk everything to try to get a piece? So that's what you hope the older adults realize. In the act of the sex itself, I don't see any problem with that. As long as both of them said it was consensual and both parties are of age, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Whether it's a young man or a woman having sex with an older woman or older man, it really, I don't see much of an issue with that at all, as long as everything is consensual. But again, you have to weigh those risks. Is it worth throwing your career away? And in this case, losing the license. Now, uh, Miss Bassani has denied a lot of these allegations because Ohio State basically painted her as a woman who is just trying to use her massage therapy license to get close to the players and uh, have sex with them and then demand money. That's how they painted her ass. She painted it as, hey, look, these are 18 to 23-year olds. I wouldn't have to entice them to do anything. They want it anyway. They want sex anyway. So a lot of this will start to come out as we go on in the coming days. I just felt like this was one of those topics that I think we all should be wary of, and I would like to hear from you guys, men and women, on how you feel about my views on it and what your own personal views on it. If you had any experiences of the like with this, hey, you're free to share that as well. I mean, that's what we do. We're here to talk about these difficult topics. But my view altogether, I don't see any problem with it. But if you're gonna risk your career on it, then you might have to do a little bit of soul searching on there because I don't think any bit. I don't think trying to get that piece for the president is worth throwing your career away. Sometimes you're gonna have to fight those urges and sit back from it. I don't know if this was the case with Miss Basani, but I mean, here she is. She lost her license, and I think from everything I've heard, I mean, she's been doing this for a good little while. So now she has to uproot, find another livelihood, and we'll see what comes out if further investigations happen. But I don't see any problem with it as long as the people are consenting to it. Everything is fine there. Just, I don't think you have to put your career at risk for that. Well, that's what I'm breathing on for today. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel. Smash that subscribe button and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. There is a live webcast coming up later on today, tonight, Tuesday night at 8 Central, 9 Eastern, and we hope to see you then. Everybody take care, and we'll talk later on.